And here we go. Good morning to you once again. How was your night? Hope it was splendid, exciting, interesting. And if you're still in bed, it's fine. Just roll over, try the other side. Make sure every part of your bed is used if you can, if you understand what I mean. Roll over to that side of the bed where you usually do not go, where it's likely, very, very likely. The mattress is a little bit maybe harder in that side. We just have to find a way to come around cheap massage if you can sometimes. It's an interesting way to go around it. Well, good morning and welcome to Midday Dialogue this morning. Tune up your radio. We're about to have a major conversation that will make your weekend even more interesting. I'm Femi D. Amale. Good morning again. So, what's been your week like? I hope it has been full of excitement. Two news from you was really, 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 really of good interest. I was really excited to hear about the stories on, first of all, it was about history. Yeah, that really did get me right. And also the possible enforcing child rights education plan. That also did get my attention this week. And when I think about it, when you combine the elements of those two, child rights in terms of Amajiri and the need to compel education to take center stage here and now, it's it gives a lot of ideas. It leaves me with so much. Finally, maybe we're getting it right for the sake of the children. Maybe we are going right, and we're getting to the point where it is true that things are falling in place. Maybe not. Well, one interesting thought have crossed my mind, and for those of you who were listening earlier, you might have heard when I asked their fortune, I said, okay, now that history is back in schools, what parts of what part of story should be shared? What part of our stories should be shared? What part of our stories should be shared? It's a major thing. Well, if you're just catching on to that, let me share with you a little bit of background into that. So, earlier this week, the federal government directed all basic and secondary schools across the country to immediately implement the teaching of history as a standalone subject from the next academic calendar, right? Now, Sonny Echono, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, made this known on Friday in an interview with newsmen in Abuja. The federal government, he said, on June 18, promised the return of history to schools curriculum while ensuring that all primary school teachers are trained to deliver digital literacy. Well, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo declared at the launch of the Education for Justice program that the government had kick-started the implementation in 12 and secondary schools across 6 geopolitical zones, and instructional classes have also commenced. According to Mr. Chono, the directive has already been given, and it is automatic that all schools should implement this simultaneously. And he says by the next academic calendar, history will be taught as a standalone subject. He said this is for immediate implementation. So, come next time, as some would say, or next session, where are we now? We should be in second term, Abi. I'm thinking, is it second time or third time? You people that pay school fees right now, I'm sure you know better. But really, this is where we find ourselves. But the fundamental question to really ask, and not to me sound on, is, so when you think about the country now, in the last, should we do last 40 years or 50 years, some standalone stories, subjects will be thought and will be shared by different people in different ways. I can imagine how the story of how okay, not well, independence, yeah, a little bit about independence, reciting the name of ministers, reciting the name of former presidents, reciting this, reciting that, and it brings to question, or should I say, brings to fore now, what part of our stories should be shared. Think about it. So when we talk about June 12th today, there's some that believe, oh, MK Abiola will have been the greatest president. Some say, oh, he was the fighter of democracy. Some say, well, he pretty much put the foundations for the democracy in every way, a foundation for democracy in every way as we would have it today. No, so that's one part, June 12, 1993. Then there's the part about August 1998. There's the part about Abdul Salami. These are national parts of history. What about the states level? What do you know about the various states as you have across the country? Should states' history as well be possibly thought by teachers and the likes of that, and the likes of people as well. And why history teachers now in banks, in engineering places, I mean, they do every other thing apart from being able to teach history. But down the line, I think the fundamental question is, what should we be preparing to teach our kids now in schools? And by the way, do you as well share a little bit of Nigerian history with your children at home? It's not just for the schools. What do you tell your children at home, or what do you tell your siblings, your nephew, your niece, your cousins, about what you know about Nigeria? I grew up listening to my mother tell me about different things about Nigeria. One of the few things I grew up listening to would have to be, for example, Professor Jerry Ghana. My mom used to say is one of the most brilliant minds that can make information the way it is different. That even if your hand is on fire, that you learn about your hand being on fire differently if Professor Jerry Ghana handles information in the 80s as the Minister of Information. She spoke about the likes of Femi Falana as well, and the brilliance and that Gani Fawami often brought to human rights issues, and how they constantly talked about how life should be better for Nigerians, and how they were really, really able to stand their ground in many, many of those occasions. I learned about the likes of Mary Okon way back then. The lady they said did take drugs out of the country from my mother. Who else now? I can go through the ranks of stories I have heard over the years. Oh, well, I lived as well through the era of what's the name of this program now? Better Life for Better Women. Yeah, I don't know if you know about that one. That was one program that was implemented by the wife of IBB at the time. Yeah, you know, these are stories and different things, different moments, different schemes, different initiatives, different objectives, different things to be achieved. What do you remember from history? Maybe in the last 50 years, if you've been around, don't worry, even if you're 20 years old, but something you remember that you think should not be forgotten, and possibly even taught in schools in these days. What do you remember, whether at your state's level? Yeah, you can imagine if somebody were to talk about states now. What do you know about a state like Ogun State, about Rivers, about Borno, about Yobe, about Jigawa? Name the state. What do you think in the story of history should be shared over and over again? I'd like to know, if you're listening, as you think about it, share this with me if you can. 0946000951 and then 08095974869, 08031230293. What story from way, way back do you remember and you think, wait, we should share this story and get some fire into this, and people should be able to enjoy the much of that in its own regard or in its own sense. What really gets to you when it comes to Nigerian story? Now, one thing I will be remembering these days, and I would not keep my mind away from it, would have to be this one. I was reading a story this morning of an advert for a job. Yeah, an advert for a job that required a graduate BSc or HND holder to drive bikes around, what we popularly call Okada. I'll give you the gist, and it's part of the qualifications that you must be a degree holder. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, Femi D.
Good to talk to you. What's your name?
This is Mr. Paul.
All right, Mr. Paul. Talk to me. I'm with you.
Yes. I'm very happy about the reproduction of history.
Okay.
It's our school curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that a lot of people, who have become adults now in the universities, many of them don't know something that happened in 2003. The issue of MK Abiola's denied the presidency.
Oh, that's 1993, right?
Yes, it all came to the fore when June 12th was declared as public holiday, and Abiola was sort of posthumously decorated by Mr. President. You know, a lot of students, university students, I'm not talking of primary or secondary school, are asking, what is the meaning of June 12th? And I'm sure if they have read it in history book.
But what history book? What history books is there to read? That's another tricky question, because one thing about it and say, is anybody still writing down what is going on in the country and making it historic in its sense?
Yes, you see, it is the issue of Abiola's case in the history is about democracy.
Mm.
When you discuss Abiola's case, I mean, this issue of June 12th, we are just discussing democracy because we know where we are coming from. We just try to come out from a military regime.
Okay.
Subsequent military regime from I don't know whether to call Obasanjo's case a coup because he took over from Murtala Mohammed when Murtala Mohammed was assassinated. Obasanjo took over.
Mm.
Then after Obasanjo in this region, we have a 4-year civilian regime, Shehu Shagari's government that was cut short
truncated,
in his
yes.
second tenure.
Yes.
Yes. And this our current president took over. And when he took over, this issue of why and indiscipline and every other things we have fought. Then his friends who put him there, what they call palace coup, removed him, and Ibrahim Babangida, popularly called IGB, took over. IGB dribbled the whole country for almost 9 years before he eventually organized elections that was supervised by Professor Humphrey Wosu, who tried his best. That election is still being considered as the best in the country.
The freest,
and Abiola was cruising to victory.
Mm.
And the same IBB and all this.
Okay, and so I know if you want to walk us down to
a lot of civil unrest.
Mm.
You understand?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So, so all this thing is something that should happen in the history book for the young ones to lay hand on it and then know the history of their country.
Okay.
But all of a sudden, I don't know how they took history out of the curriculum.
Thank God it's back now.
It's very nice. It is being brought back now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Keep on the good work.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much as well. So, well, he says at least that's some part of history that he would recommend that should be said. But, you know, one thing I'm also curious about is, so where do you read in terms of a book now, where do you read about these things? And, well, is the history we have, is it accurate enough? Does it convey the message of how things have been enough? Would it convey the message of how things have been well enough? And sometimes some people say that when it comes to history, you must also point out to the lesson you've learned. Having done it this way, how else would you have done it?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is AY.
AY, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. No, I don't know why they remove these things from our, for even not that someone is trying to hide the truth. I don't know the reason why.
What would be the truth?
They removed history before, first place. Because I discovered that, when we are grown up, by the grace of God, how old am I now? The things that I know now, in fact, beyond my age very well, due to the history. I just did history when we were in class 3.
Mm.
So when we enter class 4, because I read just only 5 class. I'm not the product of a system
system.
Education. I finished my own class 5 that time, 1989. So the little history I did from class 1 to class 3, when we got to class 4, I did 5 subjects, so I don't have anything to do with history again. And all those that I read that time, honestly, they're very useful. That's the reason why when Jonathan, our former president, was trying to name the of Lagos after Abiola, many students rejected. Why? Because they did not know who Abiola was.
That's the University of Lagos trying to name it Abiola, named after Abiola, right?
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
When you tried to name that University of Lagos, or I can't recall anyway.
It was University of Lagos.
Okay, University of Lagos. Many students that time they protested. They no, you can't blame them. Someone that now university students now, that if the education goes free without any obstruction on the way, they will finish at the age of 20 or 21 years. Although it depends on course anyway. 20, 21 will be true. So somebody that's 2022, you are telling him, so he say no. I'm even talking of those that have graduated, not the one that I just entered. You understand what I mean? So that was why all of them together say they don't know, because you can't blame them anyway. If they have been reading this history from the beginning, they know who Abiola was. We are not campaigning for Abiola now. We are not trying to say that he is the most just mind in Nigeria. But Abiola was one of the persons that gave all university that time, 1 million naira. When 1 million naira is 1 million. You are not talking about 1 million naira now. That 1 million naira that cannot even get you to rent good apartment or good shop for you in the place. 1 million naira that time is 1 million naira that it can do something of 10 million naira now. He gave them 1 million to that was why he had all. Abiola had almost all. I'm talking of all university, not the new university. So someone that did that, they want to name him University of Lagos after him. Many people related because of they did not know him. So you can't tell it anyway. So if we bring history back to Nigeria studies, Nigeria schools, honestly, it will go a long way to know that these people that you are trying to underrate, they are very, very useful. Anybody, any tribe in Nigeria, I love that issue that time. Every time Nigeria has 1 or 2 things that make Nigeria to be in Nigeria. To be in Nigeria. So you cannot remove anybody, any tribe, no matter you are. You don't mind anyway. But it's not maybe that of a Yoruba and I will be outside. We fought for independence. They are not doing that. They fought for independence on ground. When Awolowo, Azikwe, and Tawabadowa do that, if the people that the Nanaman tribe, so-called Nanaman tribe, or quote unquote, if those ones they did not support them, they won't succeed.
All right.
Obviously, they will not succeed. So that's why I really like that to.
In fact, it's back.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. All right. I need to go on a quick break now. When I do return, we'll keep up the conversation. But there's also one important part of the conversation that may be dicey to share. Some say, well, as much as you want to talk about history, what is there to share? What part of what there is to share should be shared? What is being made public and how well should it be shared? Well, these are questions maybe you can answer. I'll be back after now and we'll keep up with the conversation right here, Media Dialogue with FMD Live this Saturday's edition. I'll be back. Story of my life, I can't go on. I never know. The story of my life. Oh, God. The story of my life, I came to home, and then tonight, and then to home inside. The story of my life. Home inside. The story of my life. You're my life. Oh yeah, the story of my life. One Direction, the original singers. I know you've heard many other versions of that same song being done by cover artists all over the world, but that's the very one that got everybody's attention. Story of my life by One Direction. Welcome back to the show this very morning. It's Midday Dialogue with Family Live. I'm here this Saturday's edition, and now we've been talking for about how long now? 20 minutes or thereabout about history as we have it back. They say it's going back to the schools. But then I'm also raising the question about what will be in the stories that there are to share. I mean, what story stands out for you that you think should be shared over and over again? People need to know where we stand and how things are. Think about this way. So, on one hand, history will be thoughts, university, primary school, secondary school, even though it's secondary and primary, as I'm being informed about it. But some say even university students or higher institution students don't get to know so much about the history of the country, and that sometimes the misgivings of the society is as a result of what they do not know. But as you know, what you don't know sometimes may truly hurt you. It doesn't really matter that you don't know what you don't know, that you think you should know, that you don't know, you know. Something like that, I think. Anyway, but it's really interesting to just be able to trail down this road and find out what is it that you think people do not know about the history of Nigeria that they should know, that can help them to be informed about the passion, patriotism of the country more than ever before. Think about it this way. So the Nigerian system of education is being put to test at this time, if not banned, prescribed by the federal government. But there'll be kids and generation of children who would grow up not really caring, if I may say, or care to know or wanting to care about how history has been in the country. What's the story behind where we are? And if there's a story behind where we are, it is so important to understand and take to the future, if I may ask. Well, I'm listening to your end of the conversation right now. If you call me up on 0946000951 and also 08095974869. Not missing out on 08031230293 as well. Oh, by the way, I'm streaming on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Femi Amele. Go there, and yes, we'll be able to read up what you're writing as well. I'm glad you joined the show. Good morning to you. Good morning. How are you today? I don't know if you can speak directly into your phone. I'm struggling to hear you. Almost there. Almost. My dear friend, I don't know if you can call me back. I can't even pick up the words you're saying, and I'm sure the same experience is what other
Hello,
people are
family.
struggling with. Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How is work?
Work is good, oh, good to talk to you. What's your name?
My name is Abubakar. I'm calling for Suleja.
Abubakar from Suleja. Talk to me.
Family.
Yes.
The system of Almajiri in education, the parents must be responsible.
Okay.
Government should rehabilitate them, the parents. Some of them, their parents are well.
Abubakar, I know you're passionate about this. I am passionate about this as well, but we're talking more about history this morning so that we don't go starting off with where the Kimberly were touched on. But let's talk about history. Are you interested in
yes,
history?
Family,
Yes.
please allow me. I understand what you are talking about. Family. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
You know, the family, what I want to make the system, the way the system is going in some part of the country, so that let people be clear on it. That is why I want to just talk a little about it.
If you do that, sir, some other people would also want to do the same and talk about that. But I'm sure that has been treated extensively this morning. So I understand the need for you to do so, but maybe we should carry it over till next week. Let's talk about history right now because some other people are also benefiting from the idea of history and what should be thought in the country in days ahead. Okay, Abubakar, please bear with us. Okay.
Okay. So people that they have to contribute, let me allow them.
I'm grateful to you. Thank you, my dear
friend. Thank you very much.
All right, grateful to you. Okay, well, let's hear from more people now. Good morning. Do you have any history for me to know?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Much better now.
Yeah, I called earlier, like live was waiting.
All right. Okay. I'm with you.
What I want to say, I think, can you one more time give us this shekel for making them to bring back this?
Oh, okay. Yes, most definitely. It's a good thing.
History is something that we cannot overlook or look down. This is a story about the Bayagida in the north. This is a story about the Queen Amina. This is a story about Oduduwa in the south west. Or the story of the slave trade. All these important history events that took place in this country. Did they want it to go on the train? No. So, for me, honestly, I'm so happy to hear that.
Oh dear. Okay. He's so happy to hear that history is back, as I am as well. It's really good to know that. I mean, I learned pretty much of what I know, but wait, to come to think of it, are you learning as well from your folks, or are you sharing what you know with your siblings, cousins, and the likes of it? What do you tell people who are younger? Somebody said university students don't even know what happened in June 12, and they're wondering what's the fuss about this man. You can imagine. I know what the fuss is about. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm glad you joined the show.
How are you, Mr. Kamidi?
Good morning. Yeah, fine. It's your voice that is bringing rain. Yeah, when you're
it's really raining here.
Where is that exactly?
Yeah, somewhere around Utako.
Oh, raining in Utako.
Yeah.
Wow, you sound like you want to sleep a little bit more. Just small sleep, small.
No, I just wanted to say it's good. It's a good development that the history is back in schools.
Okay.
It's fully become. What I want to be really elaborate to us and also the upcoming generation. It's about 1963 coup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that issue is sensitive to this country. We keep dragging issues that are sensitive, not trying to discuss them. It even, go deep down into the fabric of the society, having very first dimension of what really transpired. So just to me, people have notions of who, especially in the north. I'm from the north, and what I had is our leaders were killed, tortured, and we all know. I don't want to go into one or two things. which I had is also one of the reasons why behind what is happening today in the Nigerian politics, what is going on. So that issue needs to be really touched without conditionally discuss it exhaustively on what really happened. Because if I tell you what I read, I tell you is I don't know what I read, what really happened. Some people might not really want to go on read. They will use what someone taught them. I think it's really important. And the issue of Almajiri, I don't want to talk about it now because of time factor. I think you guys need to have the time
to talk about it extensively.
Because I had people calling and they don't have really knowledge of what really is Almajiri itself. The definition of the term Almajiri needs to be defined. Why is it so? What are the dynamics between before, when it's not an issue, and when it is menace? I'm a Muslim man from the north, and I know it's a problem. You understand? Not to every part of this country.
All right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So we really need to talk about it so that we can have a way of general understanding of how to really resolve it.
I agree with you, my brother. I really do agree with you on that one. Okay, so
thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear friend. There's really need to talk about that. And yes, the honest truth is that there's so much digging around into that issue that because of course it has its own religious backing as well. We have to be careful about how we examine it. But more importantly, the social problem that it also creates cannot be underestimated in its own right. So also with the history now. I mean, think about what he just said about the 1963 coup for a moment. One would reflect and say, wait, if you're touching on 1963 coup, and if that's controversial to tell, what would it be like to tell so many other parts of the other stories where there's so much closure not done on many points? On many points historically for Nigeria. So many points of closure not done for some parts of our story. Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Ola.
Ola, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Ola from Airport Road.
Ola from Airport Road. I'm glad you joined it. Please talk to me.
Yeah, honestly, what I want to be is like every time that I'm from Lagos State.
Okay.
But my mother is from Oyo State.
Okay.
When I go to Ibadan, and I see NTA Ibadan, it is trouble my mind. Many don't know. It's the first television station in whole Africa. In whole Africa, there is nothing to write home about. If you just look at that premises, it's nothing there anymore. Honestly, I want to be hearing that one so that maybe from there you can prepare our government to do more things. I mean, to do things as far as that area is concerned, because it's a pace setter as far as that place is concerned. I want to hear something about our former head of state, Abuja.
Okay.
Honestly, Abuja to me, is one of the best. I tell the truth.
Okay.
Human being will have his own plastic. We know that one very well. But Abuja is one of the best leaders that we had. I think in the area of when they are talking of Bakassi Peninsula or not Bakassi Peninsula, honestly, Abuja is one statement that if Cameroon soldiers kill our Nigeria fishermen again from Cross River this again, he will just carry only one army barrack to go there. He will not waste his bullet. He will just. I'm telling you, all of them keep quiet.
I remember that story. I remember that story.
So, yeah, that time.
Yeah, I said I remember the story you're talking about.
God bless you, my dear brother. He said if they kill our Nigeria soldiers, our Nigeria fishermen again from Coast River and Akwa Ibom, he will carry. Yeah, he's very, very courageous leader. I tell the truth. Not the leader that they will be killing your people with smiling. They will be killing your people with the same confidence is empty. What kind of leader we are having there nowadays? But another thing is, I want to hear about Kano Pyramid. I don't know, maybe our students, they even know anything about Kano Pyramid. I don't even know, maybe they hear like that. I want to hear anything like our fourth female vice chancellor, Professor Aile Williams from Edo State, from Benin. I want to hear it. People are no longer into all those things again. I want to hear our first female pilot, Miss Thierry. I want to hear that. It will prepare what somebody is the first female pilot. Me too, I can do it. I mean, I'm talking of our children. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I am with you.
I want to hear about Calabar as our first Nigerian capital. Calabar is our first Nigerian capital. It was now what they moved to enter Kogi State, local what now, to go there inside Lagos. It is our first Nigerian capital. We should not forget it.
Okay.
I want to hear something about Sokoto Caliphate. I want to hear about Murtala Mohammed. Murtala Mohammed, find that name. You don't know. Murtala Mohammed is from Edo State. Many people, because as I name Saudi Arabia, no, let people know the origin of all our Edo States. So from there, there are a lot of things that I cannot remember here.
All right. I agree with you. There's so much you cannot, of course,
I'm telling you so much. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much as well. You set up many moments historically that we may need to touch on if we choose to teach our kids exactly what they used to say about those issues. But then, so also there are issues without closure. How would we be telling the story around some of those stories, some of those moments without closure historically in Nigeria? How would we be saying much about that in its own right? Okay, I'm still with you via the phone lines, and also soon enough I'll read the messages. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad you joined in. What's your name?
Yeah, good morning, Fanny.
How are you today, sir?
I'm fine.
Oh, all right then. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, I just want to contribute a little thing to this topic, which is interesting.
Okay, sir.
Interesting in the sense that it's quite unfortunate that the administration that stopped history from schools did it because of its guiltiness, number one.
Because of the...
Number two, being guilty of their own activity.
Okay.
You don't want future generations to know about it. Now, let me tell you, and again, you journalists too, who have the opportunity to do enough research about the problems of this country, not your own generation, the past generation of journalists, whom you will refer to as senior journalists, they have not been sincere. You see, if you don't know the source of the problem, it's not going to be easy for you to solve it.
I agree.
Yeah. Where did our problem start as a nation? Our problem started as a nation right from before the independence and after the independence. 3 Nigerians should be held responsible for our problem today. 3 Nigerians. 1, Emeka Ojukwu. 2, Obasanjo. 3, Babangida. Time will not allow me to elaborate, but I will have elaborated with facts to back it up. Because if a man like Obasanjo and T.Y. Danjuma have been able to come out and speak on their relationship with the first military coup leader, the president, and what happened during that time that led to the civil war, nobody will be talking of fighting for Biafra today. You don't build anything based on betrayal. God, you can betray every human being, you can't betray God. The issue that led to the Biafran crisis was as a result of betrayal, which made the North believe a coup was sectional. Your senior journalists know the truth, but nobody has ever tried to chronicle the problem for future generations to know where problems started. And if these 2 leaders, Obasanjo and Danjuma, have been able to come out because of their closeness to Chukwuma Njoku, and he, Danjuma, who led the counter coup of July 29, 1966, only to realize what really happened. But have they ever spoken to let the future generation dying for nothing to know the truth? And you see, this man running up and down today to correct the problems, I'm talking about Obasanjo, he's only trying to solve the problem he knew he created a lot of them. Just conscience is now telling him he wouldn't want to die to leave this problem for future generations.
Interesting. Interesting thoughts.
Journalists need to go and do enough research and then Nigerians the truth. Meet your senior colleagues. Let them come out with facts so that future generation will not cost all of us.
Okay. Interesting thoughts from you. Thank you so much for bringing that up and the way you have. I'm glad you did. So it also once again points out to the issue I mentioned earlier. So if we want to teach histories, but how do you treat the issues of stories without closure, the ones where the story is hanging in the balance? I know this happens everywhere. Sometimes history is as much of a perspective of a story from one person's point of view, and some other person will tell you, oh, I was there, it didn't happen the way it was said. So what are we about to say? What are we about to teach? What is there to teach? I think that's the fundamental question I'm not running away from. Good morning to you.
My brother, good morning.
How are you today, sir?
I am very well, Famidi. Honestly, your voice has made it a wonderful day despite the rain.
Oh, I'm glad I can do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Famidi, honestly, I did not want to call to contribute because I've been enjoying other people's comments apart from the last caller, Famidi.
Okay, I expect there will be controversy.
No, the thing is that we should be very careful concerning the kind of information we release on air. And saying what we don't really know, information you got is quite different from being an eyewitness. Because I am very, very sure that if Odumegwu Ojukwu had been alive today now, he would tell a different version of what really happened. The marginalization and the killing of the Igbos that led to the Biafran war quite different from what the man that just spoke now is saying.
Okay.
You know, when you are relating history, trying to tell our younger ones how Nigeria is and how we've gone, where we've gone, we should try to be open-minded, be very plain and frank, but don't call names or try to remind people of the old things that they have forgotten before now. Are you with me? So even if you call Obasanjo now, Obasanjo will tell you a different version.
No, it's expected.
These people are elders postmen that have made one sacrifices of the other for Nigeria to remain one down to this very day. So we please caution them and do not tolerate this kind of comment that this last caller just made, because some of these people are still alive. And if you meet them one-on-one, believe me, family, you will be shocked of what they will tell you concerning this particular country.
I agree with you.
What I want to contribute, my brother.
I agree with you that definitely everybody has his own part of the story that is different from how things are. But then it's the main question I'm asking. Thank you for your call. Main question I'm now asking is, so with so much perspective, with so much angles to stories, I mean, take up even June 12, that would have to be one of the most landmarked feature of our story. Till date, it's still being described differently by different people. The role of the electoral chairman at the time, the role of IBB. I mean, I've watched nothing less than 3 interviews where IBB, that's Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, his own narration to the reason why he acted as he did for June 12, he gave was completely different from what was conveyed or what's been popular. So the question is, what is popular enough as a story to be shared, disseminated, endorsed into the minds of young people who may want to know, and those who will need to know through the schools and through the family lives that we do have till date? These are questions to fundamentally ask. All right, I'm still with you via the phone lines. I'm just going to take 2 more calls and prepare to go on the break. No, that didn't stay, unfortunately. All right, let me try this other line. Yeah, let's try this one. Good morning to you.
Good morning, family.
I'm glad you joined the show.
I'm glad to join you.
Yes, what's your name, sir?
My name is Samuel from Masaka.
All right, Samuel, talk to me. What do you know? What do you think should be shared?
Actually, the issue of saying the secrecy that are behind the bad governance in Nigeria is more than what we the led people, I mean, people who are out of governance are perceiving. One, I'm talking about the issue of tribalism. Until we keep this behind us.
Okay.
Until we keep this behind us. Okay, let's say that IDB was talking about perceiving some fishy deals when Abiola wanted to come on board. But is it not high time enough to review such kind of things that he was perceiving to Nigerians? Up to now, nobody knew. But you still say you were perceiving some things that weren't so pleasant enough for the government. To me, he called and condemned the other callers. These people that the man called the whole Nigerian law.
Okay, so I understand that, but I'm trying to go for your perspective, not the two callers and their perspective. Let's hear what you have to say about this. I know they have their own stands, but what's your stand?
No, my stand will not be different from your own perspective. My stand will not be different from your own perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And you too. I'm grateful that you called in this very morning. So excited to hear your voice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep up with what you are saying. One more call and I'll read your messages. Good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning.
How are you today?
My name is Mr. A.
Mr. A. All right. Welcome. I'm with you. Mr. A. Yes.
The history has it that our problem is fundamental. It's fundamental in the sense that we are not designed to rule or govern ourselves. Man was not created to rule anybody. Our ruling ourselves is our personal desire, and it's divine in nature. I mean, it's how-like. It's like a blind man ruling a blind man. The two of you end up in a beach.
But it's likely that one man has been blind longer than the other, so may know the pathway better than the other.
Do you know why I said so, Leah Femidi?
Yes.
Look at these ones who have governed us, or those ones who are at the top of the head, those ones who call themselves the leaders. Get into their private life and their families. They're not able to control them. They can't handle them. I mean, they can't direct them. They have children that are wayward, wired. I mean, almost irresponsible. So as a matter of fact, not somebody who can't even talk to himself, direct himself. I mean, tell himself what is good, take good decisions. And you're coming to take decisions for a whole public, a whole multitude. I mean, it's not possible. It's not done. That is why you see we've tried all kinds of government, communism, democracy, federalism, the socialist government, and all that all over the world, and all have crumbled. We have not gotten anything apart from war, bloodshed, poverty. That's what you say.
Okay, so man attempting to rule himself, he hasn't done the best at it, and is not designed to rule himself. That's your stand.
Yeah.
All right. I'm grateful to you for your call. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. Well, that's one truth to go by. Is one perspective, not truth now. One perspective to go by. Every country around the world has some story that is either, well, haunting them or has set them up to be the same way. Stories laid on stories is what makes some countries stand the way they are stood so far. When you talk about the Americans, you had at some point the Southern Confederates and the Northern Confederates who had differences, who at some point even went into war. At some point, women were not voting in the United States. And there were people who paid the price in trying to get that happen. And to date, they have found a way to manage how those stories are being shared to young people in grade 5 over and over again. How should we plan to share our story, and what part of our story should be shared? The safe or not so safe? Who remembers it in a certain way? Is there a narrative that should be officially acceptable as the norm, the one that everybody feels it's okay, no trouble, we can go by this? Well, let's read up some of the messages before we come back to the phone lines, please. Upata in Central Area says, I recall that the first known Nigerian coup in 1966 led by Major Nziogu was justified among others, mainly on grounds of fighting corruption. Subsequent coups have followed from the same reasoning to thrive. I'm so surprised this corruption still hijacks the manifestation of many a politician who wants to govern Nigeria. Alas, corruption is still defiant, still living, and the war against it is still raging as well today. God save Nigeria, it goes on to say. Okay, so this message says, France just celebrated the D-Day, an event during the Second World War. History cannot be complete if we try to sweep the Nigerian Civil War under the carpet. Please, sir, there are a lot of books about history. We all know the reason why history is not part of our school syllabus all this while. Frank, from Guaripa did say that. Interesting perspective to that. And by the way, over and over again, Germany continues to talk about Western and Eastern Germany moments that they had in 1989, the Berlin Wall. And well, today they found a way to go around it and talk about it and look like those generation of Germans were not doing the best they could. But that's one way of saying it. But I'm sure the people at the time then will think about it differently. This message says, good morning, FMD. I'm Dan from Karu. Please, can you hint us on when was history removed from the curriculum and what was the reason then, please? Okay, I'll check on that. Good morning, Musa Ango from Guaraka. In 2001, September, President Obasanjo sacked Plateau State Governor Joshua Dari and declared state of emergency, state of violence, and state of violence and state of legislature was dissolved. Retired General Chris Ali was appointed sole administrator of the state. That move by OBJ was quite commendable and should be documented. So Nigerians will understand what individuals like Obasanjo stand for despite his shortcomings. Thank you. That's one story, according to somebody. So what is Majiri? Correct me if I did not get how much Majiri, that's what you meant. What are the benefits of, because I see this Majiri is poverty and wickedness to children at the end of the day, the end of creating drug addicts. Femi, please ask them this question. I weep when I see how the children suffer. It breaks my heart. He goes on to say, good morning, Femi. How did Rwanda handle theirs? 1994 genocide. How did they handle theirs? Is the question. Can we apply and improve on that? Osimi Joseph is the one asking that question about the Rwanda genocide in 1994 and how they did handle that. Many of you recall that not too long ago, the vice president was in Rwanda as part of the celebration, memorable celebration of the 1994 Rwanda genocide that left quite a number of people dead. Even now, South Sudan is going through their own phase of issues as we would have it. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Abubakar. Calling back.
All right, Abubakar, let's hear you.
Okay, family, the way forward in this country, not if we want to get it right. This state of origin is the problem we are having in this country. As far as you are entitled to, you are a Nigerian citizen, whatever state you are into, you find yourself in this country, you're supposed to be entitled to anything that you have to look for in that state. We should do it in that way. For instance, what is going on in this country, the blood that is sharing. Look at the way the Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, Akitona was executed by the military. And then Major Ichi Ajuna, and Major Kaduna say that those people, if they not executed those people, the great-great-grandchildren will continue to be running this country. Today, what are we finding? Those people, their life wouldn't have been taken the way the military take their life. At least Nigeria should pray for forgiveness of those people. Those people that the blood were soaked and dead. Nigeria should pray. They should ask for forgiveness for those people because they are the one who fought for this nation for us to have independence. So the way their life was taken, Albert, is that we still have a long way to go.
Okay.
We should make a national prayer for those people, for their souls to rest in peace, for them to forgive Nigeria, by their souls to be taken by the military and dead. So Nigeria should pray, should mark a national prayer, because till tomorrow, blood will still soaking in this country.
Let's leave the blood story. Yes, I understand you, Abubakar, but I get your point.
I will leave it. Those are the people fought for this nation for us to have independence. Then the issue of this state of origin should be terminated in this country. Wherever any state, whatever the state you are into in this country, you're supposed to have a title to any position you are looking for. It should be terminated.
All right.
That is my thing.
Thank you, Abubakar. He believes state of origin should possibly be replaced with states of residence. That's something to discuss, I think, on the fresh day again as well. It's a really, really interesting issue. But it looks like under President Muhammadu Buhari at this time is making an attempt, at least with the June 12th celebration Democracy Day. Some say it's an attempt at mending fences. It's an attempt at looking down at each other and say, okay, well, this didn't go right. Let's see if we can mend it and keep things going and possibly turn in the direction that things will be better from going forward. Yeah, somebody asked about when was history taken out of our school books. 2007. That would have to be the date I've digged up on responding to your question on that one. I'm glad you joined the show. Welcome.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is Mr. Ojo.
Mr. Ojo, welcome back. Oh, welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
You see, Samidi, even me particularly, I need to know the history very, very well. You see, somebody can call and make a comment about Abacha that they kill one soldier, that now tell the country that if they kill any one soldier again, that we bring them down.
No, you didn't hear you didn't hear him well. He was talking about the residents in Cross River, that if the soldiers in Cameroon continue to invade, that if one person dies, he's going to move the whole barracks in order to retaliate. That's how he narrated the story.
I love it. I love that. That is the
Abacha is a man of courage.
In his heart. He's not a man that they will be killing his people and they will be upon that. This Abacha lose our money very well, but he still do some things that I so much love. Okay. He don't want anybody to die in this country. Look at what he promised America that time. Back on them that he can take care of his country. Who in our leaders here that can do that? You see, this is our June 12th. Mark it today. Another person is coming to change this thing. Just the thing I told you.
Why do you think it should be changed? Why? Why do you think it should be changed?
You just watch now. You just what we are putting down that we have been following. You could have just leave it like that. Why did you just come in the afternoon?
Wait. Let me understand you clearly. Why do you think it should be changed? Why do you say so?
Okay. Why did they change it from the one we are using before?
Okay.
Why did they change it before?
So May 29 originally was picked as the day from transition from military style of governance or leadership into democracy, as agreed. It was a date picked out for such to happen, and that was from Abdul Salami in May 29, 1999 to Obasanjo, where that handing over did take place. So that was the reason why that date was picked, but it may not necessarily be significant to any part of our history, as one will put it. But June 12th, maybe it aligns more with where we are coming from. So maybe that's it. And I think that's the inclination for the reason why. Okay, that's not working out. That line not working out. Welcome to the show. So that's the inclination for the June 12th change, I think. Well, so says. Good morning. Okay, that didn't stay long enough either. I'll move over. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
My name is Benga.
All right, welcome, Benga.
From Life Camp.
All right, Benga from Life Camp. Let's hear you.
Yes, you see, the reason why there is still so much division in the country because of our past is because the story, what happened pre and post Civil War, were not told with everybody admitting his fault and seeking for reconciliation. The story was being told to the generation that came after. Everyone claiming that I was right. I never did anything bad. If our fathers or the people that did us, look, we made a mistake and we admitted it. And they said the story that, look, we took the wrong step, then we'll have been able to solve the problem, we'll have healed our wounds. Let me tell you, whatever happened, that Civil War shouldn't have been fought. But when it was decided that the Southeast would go for that Civil War, and after the Civil War, the story was that the Yorubas were betrayers. All the today they say it. They are the Hausa, the Fulani were the killer. And they never admitted that they had any fault. And that's the cause of the problem today.
So everybody has some faults that they did not admit.
The Civil War, we shouldn't have gone for the Civil War. We made a mistake to have gone to the Civil War. I'm telling you, we'll have hit the wound up to now.
Okay.
If IPOB will tell you their story, they will tell you Hausa Fulani are killer, Yorubas are betrayer.
Easy does it. Okay, well, I understand that.
Everybody and said that yes, Yoruba, whatever, let's admit our fault and let's seek for reconciliation. That will heal the wound.
Okay.
Rwanda people are able to get above the Nigeria and another default genocide because everybody like, no, we made a mistake. We were misinformed. We got it wrong. And that will heal the wound. But when I'm feeling that I acted right, I have no fault. But you are the wicked. You are the evil one. I'm telling you, till tomorrow, that division will be there. That hatred, because the oncoming generation will be fed with those errors, with those hatred, and it will continue to like that. We need to admit our fault. That's even what should have been fought. And that everybody, both the federal government and the Biafra, all of us come to the table, admit our fault, and seek for reconciliation. It's not too late.
All right. Well, interesting thoughts from you there, Gbenga from Life Camp, saying, well, we need to admit our faults and seek reconciliation if things are going to be better. And I kind of agree with him. Oftentimes, the only way to move forward, even in the family unit, when you have a misunderstanding with your spouse, is to admit somebody just has to move ground. Somebody has to change as regards what led to what. But are we going to do that in order to heal things? But then, having done that as well, if we choose to, what stories, what part of our history should be shared, should be thought, should be disseminated, and how should it be done? I think that's the story, that's the fundamental crux of our discussion this morning. History is back to schools. What part of the story should be shared? And here we are discussing this very morning. I hope I get to your phone calls in good time. It's now 20 minutes past 11 a.m. Nigerian time. Welcome to the show. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, Femi. Once more.
Okay.
This is Mr. Paul.
All right, Mr. Paul.
Yes, I want to state it emphatically that I don't see any government, even if military government is to come back again, that will nullify for the second time the issue of Fabiola and June 12. So anybody who is thinking about that is wasting his time. And I want to point out that Nigeria's history is not all about crisis or personalities. We have so many other good things that could be found about Nigeria's history. I hear the CBN governor saying the other time that it is a shame that Indonesia, or is it Malaysia, came to Nigeria to receive palm fruits, palm seedlings. And today, we are the ones going back there to import palm oil. Is this not a historic something? We should stop about looking for blames. This person is a killer, this person is this person betrayed us, this person. I think we have to move forward. There's no country without their own setback. Somebody mentioned about Rwanda. Even the president of Rwanda was there for the June 12th. Could you remember?
Yes, I remember. He was around Kagame.
Yeah, he was around ahead of several other heads of state because he attended the conference on anti-corruption.
Yes, and we played the speech. He spoke at length and gave advice to President Buhari.
See, after all the genocide they have closed the history of that and moved ahead. And they are one of the progressive countries in Africa today. So we have a lot of other things that can forge us ahead. Not only personality, crisis, this one did that, this one do that. We want to be on our own. We want to do this. If everybody is to be on his own, we have more than 1 billion countries in this world.
I see.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Yes. So I think we have several things. We have archaeological findings that give us the history of our country. It's not all about crisis. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you as well for your time and your contribution. As you made it known, okay, interest is not all about crisis. It goes on to say. All right, well, let's take a few more calls. And 11:30, we'll go on a break and then keep up with other parts of the show. Good morning to you.
Hello, family.
Good morning.
Fabulous morning to you, family.
Same to you, sir.
Yes, my name is Fabulous D.
Okay, Fabulous D. Welcome.
I think this is the best program I've heard on radio this year.
Wow, I'm glad we were privileged to be marked
yes,
such.
yes. I've listened carefully to everyone that has spoken, and I think they all have made my day. But finally, I will not fail to state this because of the last caller. Never a day in the world, even the Bible says, for two to work together, they must be in agreement.
Very true.
Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
So you cannot progress when there is no peace. Let's not. I expect us to be more than this. Okay, a house that is not united cannot go anywhere. And there is no two ways about it. Let's not start talking. How can I even talk about the good things when there are bad things everywhere? I mean, it's time for us. It's like we don't like telling ourselves the truth in this country. And if we fail to tell ourselves the truth, we cannot achieve anything. The simple truth is this. Somebody called and said something that glasses my heart. He said, let's admit our faults. If I am wrong, let me apologize. I am wrong. If the other person is wrong, let's all apologize. Then by that time, everybody will now say, okay, since we have now apologized to ourselves, what is the way forward? But not pretending as if nothing has happened. And we keep going forward. It's not true. And moreover, people have told so many stories to their children, to their great-grandchildren. It will not just be out in a day. So I don't want to take much of your time, but let's not pretend as if nothing is wrong.
All right.
Things have gone bad, and people have to come together and discuss about it. There's no two ways about it. Thank you, and have a nice celebration.
Thank you so much as well for your contribution as you've made it known. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Chinedu from Life Camp. We are listening to you.
Yeah, Femi D. You see, that's how I said a lot of people have said things that have gladdened my heart. You see, the history of this country, it can be told in different ways. Based on the perspective teller is coming from. And the big block, or shit. The issue is this. There is actually a true story of every story. Yes. There is. And that is what the country should do. We respect it too much. I think some of our founding fathers and those who took over from them, few of them are still alive. And
Oh, there. Are you there? Yes. Okay. The line is breaking, but I'm struggling to hear you.
They can do us a lot of favor, by coming out and even the government, because a lot of people, after they have gone, they are in the government archive. There's a lot of investigation. I don't want this to go to the issue of civil war because it's a lot of issue of civil war. So it looks like they are offending a lot of people. But the issue is this.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, the network is not helping much. We can't pick out what your words exactly.
Okay, let me call back.
Please, if you can, we would appreciate that. Okay, it's 27 minutes past 11 a.m. Nigerian time. If you're listening, we're glad you are.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Peter.
Peter. Okay, where's Peter calling from?
Tribal Truth.
Oh, nice, Peter. Okay, go on.
You know what? I just love what I'm hearing this morning, but I want to chip in something. So that all of someone said that if Igbos are saying something, that outside the killer, the right the betrayer, what is their own? Nothing. I want to say something to happen this morning. That Ojuku may so rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
He tried his best, but they should give Zik Azikwe the glory. Because while Ojuku was trying to fight that time, Azikwe told him, this is not the time. Take easy, cool down. That's the reason why I know that these people, they really fought for this independence. Because I think we know that don't come and spoil what we have achieved. Don't come and spoil what we have laid. They are calling Awolowo a betrayer.
Because why? He did not follow them to fight. He knows the reason why they want to fight. They labor for this Nigeria, for this independence. The Otuku came on board and started mobilizing soldiers, started fighting because of one thing. People think, or they thought that he was fighting for evil. It's a lie. It was because Gowon declared himself, because why? Otuku is in Kaduna. Gowon is in Lagos. Or I don't know because I don't know where he was at that time. When they killed Aguiyi, the man that's supposed to be head of state that time, Major General Ogutipe, the man did not hear the Nigeria was with 3 days without head of state. They were waiting for the man to declare himself as the president. They didn't hear anything about the man. They don't see the dead body. Gowon went to Lagos to go and declare himself as the president. That was what prepared Otuku to start fighting. Because although they are the same colors, but Otuku senior him, he was fighting for himself, not for egos.
Okay.
We just because of the other, he just as Otuku was telling him, but don't fight that time. It is not the fighting. This no. I cannot bow down for my opinion. That was what prepared civil war.
Okay.
That was what prepared civil war. Don't let us be carried away. When we say, "Hey, I the killer," you the leader. What of that?
What I would agree with you on is this: that there's a true story to every story. I agree with you on that,
no.
And I'm sure somebody else also remembers this story differently from the way you said it as well.
I know very well. But what I'm saying is that what I'm not saying this story so that we say maybe people about the Otuku apart. No, it's for all of us. All of us. We have fought. We have fought in this matter. We can come to the last table and say, which country that is existing right now, there's never been a war that country can. There's any country. Can you hear me?
Yes, I am. I'm listening.
I don't think there's any country in the whole world right now that they never fight a war to each other. We had of what is that name? We had of North Korea, South Korea. We have North America, South America, that we have which country? Now, have we did the same level with those countries? No. Because we still dwell in our past, we still dwell in our wound. Let all those people that are dead at that time, let their soul rest in peace. They have sacrificed their life, in one way or the other. Let us move together as it is not so. My dear brother, what we are saying now, I don't pray that let our grandchildren maybe stay on ground. I tell the truth, because we are not ready to move forward.
All right.
Let's
leave it at that, Richie. Thank you so much this morning for that. We're going to a quick break. When we do come back, we'll round off the conversation before 11:45. And we'll see how much of your calls we can take it. For those who are just joining into the program, it may sound like, why are we treating news from the past? Well, it's not news from the past when somehow it's part of the stories that make up the history of the country. And now we are questioning, history is back to schools, but what part of this story should be shared? What will be the story that will be true enough? That will be the one ultimate story that can be told, whether in the school or back at home. What's the story that you think can be shared and yet will still uphold the unity of the country? But one fundamental thing I have learned thus far from people is the fact that we all have our faults. We must be willing to admit such faults. Stay with me. I'll be back after now to keep up the conversation with you right here on Nigeria Info. Meet the dialogue with Family Life. I'll be back.
Ole torí àwa lòkun o, ó tún lè torí àwa lọ. Ole torí àwa lòkun náà, ọmọ aráyé kí mi ní wẹ̀nà. Ó yá pọ́n mi lé.